They're no more as a basketball conference, but their football teams are starting to make some noise. We all know who the number one coach in the ACC is, but how about the rest? Find out next on the Gridiron Expert. Of course, it's no surprise that Dabo Swinney is the number one coach in our 2019 ACC head coach rankings. Since 2008, Swinney is 116-30 with Clemson, including 4 college football playoff appearances, 2 national championships, and 5 ACC titles, including 4 in a row. Really, in the ACC, it's Dabo Swinney and then everybody else. There's a huge gap between the number one coach and the number 2 coach, which happens to be Bronco Mendenhall at Virginia. Now, some people may disagree with some of these rankings, maybe disagree with Mendenhall being at number 2. And I want to make something very clear once again, that these rankings are not solely based on what happened last year. That does play a role, but it also kind of encompasses the coach's entire coaching career, and also whether the coach has a team trending in the right direction, or maybe they're going backwards, or maybe they inherit a good team if they're a new head coach, or maybe they inherit a team that's been put in a bad position. So a lot of factors go into this, not just what happened last year. Bronco Mendenhall, one of the more consistent coaches in the country, went 99-43 during his time at BYU, a phenomenal run there, and has quickly transformed this Virginia team into a contender in the ACC. Now, of course, Dabo Swinney and Clemson are the kings of the ACC. No one will dethrone them, but there's a solid chance that Virginia could make a title appearance this season. Mendenhall is 16-22 with the Cavaliers, but in 2017 got Virginia to their first bowl game since 2011. They, of course, lost that game to Navy in blowout fashion, but last year finished 8-5, annihilating South Carolina 28-0 in the Belk Bowl. Now, Virginia is certainly trending up, and that's one of the major reasons Mendenhall is up here at number 2 for the job that he has done, quickly transforming this Cavaliers team. 2-10 in year 1 to 8-5 by year 3, and their sights are set very high in 2019. And I am certainly jumping on the train for the Virginia team. I really expect big things out of Mendenhall and his Cavaliers. The basketball team just won the national championship. Let's see what the Mendenhall can do on the gridiron. Number 3, David Cutcliffe. If you have watched the Gridiron Expert, if you have watched us at any point over the past 3 years, you know that I am a huge fan of David Cutcliffe. And really, the ACC, and Duke in particular, is a somewhat difficult place to win. There are a handful of schools on this list that are very difficult to win. And David Cutcliffe is 67-72 at Duke, which is a losing record, I know. It's nothing spectacular. But when you take into account how big of a basketball school Duke is, David Cutcliffe has made their football team relevant, and that's something that's pretty difficult to do, to go to a school that really has their mind set on basketball and then make their football team relevant, and that's exactly what Cutcliffe has done. He has had 4 seasons of 8 wins or more. He has made, and this is a very interesting fact, and just comes to show what a great job Cutcliffe has done with the Blue Devils. He has made 6 bowl games with Duke in the past 7 years. Before that, Duke had made 8 bowl games in the previous 89 seasons. We'll say that again. Under Cutcliffe, Duke has made 6 bowls in the past 7 seasons. Before that, they had made 8 bowls in the previous 89 seasons. And that just comes to show how great of a job Cutcliffe has done. He has a knack for producing NFL talent. Just had his quarterback, Daniel Jones, taken number 6 overall to the New York Giants. Had another quarterback taken to the Giants back during his time at Ole Miss, and Eli Manning. He's been all over the country as a coach, doing a phenomenal job here at Duke. Not an easy place to win, but he is getting the job done there, and that is why he is number 3 in our ACC head coaching rankings. Number 4, a coach that does not get a lot of attention, another school that is not easy to win at in Wake Forest, and Dave Clawson. And he is one of the, I think, more underrated and underappreciated head coaches in the nation, considering the job that he has done with Wake Forest. Like Cutcliffe, during his time with the Demon Deacons, has a losing record, 28-35. But he has won 3 straight bowl games with Wake Forest. 2016, they beat a nationally ranked Temple team. Then they beat Texas A&M in the Belk Bowl, an absolute thriller there, I think 55-52. And then last year, another thriller, beating Memphis in the Birmingham Bowl. So 3 straight bowl games for the Demon Deacons, something that I can't remember the last time that even happened for Wake Forest, but he has been very consistent with them, has a very unique style of coaching, a unique coaching method, and is slowly building up this Wake Forest team. I would expect another bowl appearance out of Dave Clawson and this Wake Forest squad, and maybe a chance to pull off an upset or 2 in the ACC this season. So doing a phenomenal job there. As I mentioned, underappreciated, underrated, but he does get the number 4 spot in our head coaching rankings. Number 5, we have Dave Doran from North Carolina State, somewhat similar to Dave Clawson in the sense that a lot of people, I think, kind of disregard him, kind of forget about him. He is 43-34 in his career overall, 23-4 at Northern Illinois. Now, that's something to keep in mind. That's what landed him this NC State job, was the job that he did with the Huskies in the MAC. 23-4, got them to that Orange Bowl back in 2011, I believe. He did not coach that game, but still got them there. He has been to 5 straight bowl games with the Wolfpack, won 3 of them, and has back-to-back 9-win seasons, so it's pretty phenomenal. Now, some people will look at some of those bowl losses and say, well, North Carolina State has been unable to beat the big dogs. They got annihilated by Texas A&M in their bowl game this past season. They have failed to beat Clemson. There have been multiple times that people think NC State could be the team that could overthrow the Tigers, maybe pull off an upset there. They've kind of hyped that game up, and they always kind of lay an egg. But Dave Doeren has done a phenomenal job also producing NFL talent. Bradley Chubb, now Ryan Finley, one of the most prolific passers, I thought, last season, at least in terms of accuracy and precision. So he's doing a phenomenal job, I think, with the Wolfpack there. Knows how to bring in his talent. Wouldn't expect anything less out of his team this year. At least another 8-win season, maybe even 9 once again. And that's what Wolfpack fans have to hope for. And a team that has kind of been somewhat mediocre football-wise. Doeren has kind of made them relevant in the ACC, and they have to be happy with that. Coming in at number 6, we have Dino Babers. Some people may disagree with him being over a legendary coach in Mack Brown, or maybe even over Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech. But Babers, what he did last year with the Orange, what he did last year with Syracuse, was something that I don't think anybody could have predicted. Back-to-back 4-8 seasons with Syracuse, and then he jumps to 10-3 with the Orange, including a bowl win. So 9-3, including a bowl win there. Like I said, when we rank these coaches, we look at teams that could be trending up or trending down. Syracuse is one of those teams that we have trending up. Keep in mind, even though 2 years ago they went 4-8, they did defeat Clemson. Last year, they also should have beaten Clemson again. So they've been a team in the ACC that has consistently given Clemson some issues and some problems. And they have just landed, I think, the Week 3 primetime game between the Tigers and the Orange. People freaked out because Eric Dungy will no longer be the quarterback for Syracuse, but I have a lot of faith in Tommy DeVito and Dino Babers knowing how to coach an offense. I don't see a pretty big lack of production here. I don't see them to have a major drop-off. Syracuse should get back to the postseason, should again be a threat in the ACC, and that's why he lands the number 6 job, or number 6 spot here in our ACC head coaching rankings. Right below him, we have Justin Fuente at Virginia Tech. Now, he's just 25-15 with the Hokies, and last year was a very, very disappointing year for them. Did not have a good year at all. I think finished 6-7, a year they probably shouldn't have even made a bowl game, just reached bowl eligibility, getting a game tacked on at the end of their schedule. And yes, they did make the ACC title in his first year. Yes, they've been to 3 straight bowl games, but Fuente hasn't really done much besides that. He's been to three straight bowl games, only won one of them, a 2016 comeback win over Arkansas in the Belk Bowl, has lost the previous 2. And to me, this is a team, a Virginia Tech team, that is trending down. And that's why he still lands in the upper half of the ACC. He's right there in the middle, number 7 out of 14. But a Virginia Tech team that I think has a lot of holes to replace, a lot of shoes to fill, and a lot of things they need to figure out going into 2019. And that's why he lands this number 7 spot. He did okay things at Memphis, but he wasn't necessarily spectacular. Let's see if he can right the ship and bring Virginia Tech back to some relevancy in the ACC in the 2019 season. Number 8, we have Mack Brown, one of the most legendary coaches in all of college football. Now, the reason he's number 8 and not higher, even though he has a phenomenal track record, especially with the job that he did in his first stint with North Carolina, and especially the job that he did at Texas, what I think we all remember most of, he hasn't coached since 2013. And that's kind of a cause of concern. I mean, he still knows the game. He can still lead a program. But, his first stint with UNC was not good. He had back-to-back 1-win seasons. Could that be the case for him in 2019? He coached the Tar Heels from 1988 through 1997, ended up doing a phenomenal job down the road, winning multiple 10-win seasons, having multiple 10-win seasons. But I don't think it's going to be the case in year 1. He inherits a very bad North Carolina team. He's got his work cut out for him, but in the end, I think he can make the Tar Heels relevant within 2, 3, 4 years down the road. It takes coaches some time for the coaches to hit their stride, even though they have a great pedigree, even though they have a great background they're not going to be a guaranteed immediate success. But Mack Brown, number 8, despite being out of the coaching game for a while, still ranks above some veterans in the ACC, such as Steve Adazio, Jeff Collins, or at least head coaches Steve Adazio, Pat Narduzzi, guys like that. And coming in at number 9, we do have Pat Narduzzi, who is 28-24 in his 4 years with Pittsburgh. And one thing you have to say with him is that he's been consistent with the Panthers. So that's one thing that you can just pride him on. He has consistently had them in contention for the postseason, only missed the postseason in 1 year, made the conference championship last year, finishing 7-7, getting annihilated by Clemson, but anybody would have. And in 2016 had a phenomenal year, upsetting Penn State, who ended up winning the Big Ten, upset Clemson, who ended up winning the national championship, and then in 2017 upsetting Miami, the number 2 team in the country at the time, preventing the Hurricanes from possibly getting to the college football playoff. The reason he's number 9 and not any higher, I listed some big-time wins there. The reason he's number 9 and not any higher is that he's 0-3 in his bowl games. And that's kind of a bit of a cause of concern. He hasn't been able to produce in the postseason, and really, he hasn't produced much in the regular season. Has had 2 years where he's gone 6-2 in ACC play, such as last year when they made the conference championship. That's extremely impressive, but he hasn't been able to produce in the postseason, and he hasn't gone anywhere above 8 wins. I know he's only been there for 4 years, but I don't expect bigger things out of Pittsburgh this year. They ended up getting to the conference championship last year over the likes of Bronco Mendenhall, Virginia. I don't see that happening this year, but Pat Narduzzi has surprised us before. Let's see if he can do it again. Number 10, Manny Diaz. Now, why do we have a coach at number 10 that has not coached a single game as head coach? He's only been a coordinator. And this is because if you've watched our videos before, I've praised Manny Diaz and the excitement that I have for him and the excitement surrounding his Miami Hurricanes program. He was defensive coordinator at Miami, and in his first season as defensive coordinator, his defense ranked number 20 in the nation. Last year, a down year for Miami, his defense ranked number 2 in the nation in total defense. And one thing that surrounds Manny Diaz is we expect the defense to be good. We expect the defense to remain strong because of what he did there during his time as coordinator. I expect the offense to be even better because they did inherit a Tate Martell, a good transfer. And even if he doesn't win the battle, you could have Jaron Williams or N'Kosi Perry taking over. And then you had Dan Enos, who has been known to produce solid quarterbacks. We saw what he did at Arkansas. We saw what he did at Alabama, even during his time as head coach at Central Michigan. So he has surrounded himself with a solid assistant coaching staff, and he's bringing that Miami swagger back. I expect big things out of Manny Diaz, maybe not in year 1, but certainly down the road, bringing them back to national relevancy. That's why he gets the number 10 spot over a veteran in Steve Adazio, number 11 in our rankings, who was just 38-38 during his time with Boston College. And if I'm a Boston College fan, I mean, that's great that you're getting to multiple bowl games, but you've got to be getting tired of going 7-6. 6 seasons with the Eagles, with Boston College. He has gone 7-6 4 times, and actually it could have very well been 5 times. Last year, Boston College did go 7-5, but their bowl game against Boise State was canceled due to weather. So they could have lost that game and gone 7-6, or they could have gone 8-5. Regardless, that's 5 times in 6 seasons that he's only won 7 games. And that's really what you would expect out of a Steve Adazio team, but he has not been able to kind of break that 8-win margin, much like people thought they could have done last year with the talent that they had, especially in a star running back in A.J. Dillon. He's also just 1-3 in his bowl games with Boston College, so he's not been able to produce very well there. So he ranks number 11 here. Even though he's been consistent, he hasn't been able to get over that hump, and that's why he ranks fairly low. Number 12, we have Jeff Collins, a new head coach in the ACC, coming over from Temple to take over for Paul Johnson at Georgia Tech. He was just 15-10 at Temple. He's a defensive-minded coach, but he's bringing in this new style of play. We're used to seeing the option at Georgia Tech, what Paul Johnson was used to running at Navy, running at Georgia Tech, and now Jeff Collins is coming in, and we're actually going to see Georgia Tech throw the ball a little bit more, and that's not something that we're used to have seen under the Paul Johnson era. So he's got a lot that he's going to have to kind of adjust. It's going to be a very new look. Unfortunately for Jeff Collins, they opened the season against Clemson, the defending national champions, the best head coach in the ACC, one of the best head coaches in the nation. And it's going to be a very bad welcoming party for Georgia Tech, I feel. But I think Georgia Tech does have a lot of promise under Collins, but right now we have him ranked 12 over a guy in Willie Taggart, who is a veteran coach across the board, coached at Western Kentucky, South Florida, Oregon, and now at Florida State. Some people may think he needs to be higher, but he's 52-57 overall, and Willie Taggart really, guys, is not that good of a coach. He went 16-20 at Western Kentucky, 24-25 at South Florida. Had one good year, decent year at Oregon, 7-5 before jumping ship to come to Florida State, where they went 5-7 and failed to make a bowl game, which is unacceptable by Florida State standards. He doesn't seem to really have a plan with the Seminoles right now. He seems almost clueless with this new big-time program. Yes, they got a transfer quarterback in Alex Hornibrook that can maybe get them through 1 year. Florida State's still one of the more legendary programs in all of college football, but Willie Taggart, is he the right man for the job? That's why we have him down at 13 right now. A horrible year one, and things don't seem to be trending in the right direction. Maybe he surprises us, but Florida State wants to be back in college football playoff discussion, ACC title discussion, beating teams like Miami and Clemson. And I don't know if Willie Taggart's the right man for that job. That's why he ranks second to last in our ACC rankings right now, until he can show some major signs of improvement and major signs that he knows what he's doing down with the Seminoles. Then last, number 14, Scott Satterfield. People may disagree with this because of the phenomenal job that he did with Appalachian State, going 51-24, 3 10-win seasons or more, 3-0 in bowl games, scared some big dogs like Penn State last year in the season opener, nearly beat Tennessee when they started the season ranked number 9 a few years ago. The problem with Scott Satterfield is that he inherits a very, very bad team in Louisville. They got rid of Bobby Petrino. He left a mess there. I have faith in Scott Satterfield. I really do. I do not think he's a bad coach. Just because a coach ranks last doesn't mean they're bad. Someone's got to be last. But he inherits a very, very bad Louisville team, and I don't expect a lot out of him in year one. I think, jumping from the Sun Belt to the ACC is a pretty big jump. It's not an easy thing to do. They opened the season against a college football playoff team in Notre Dame last year. They opened against the Fighting Irish this year, so it might be interesting to see how that style of play transforms and how they do against a team that could be in contention for the playoff again this year. Scott Satterfield, I have a lot of faith in him. I think he can transform his Louisville program and make them relevant like they were a few years ago under Lamar Jackson, like they were under Bobby Petrino in his first stint. But I don't see it happening this year. He inherits a very, very bad team, probably the worst team in the ACC as of right now. And so we're just going to have to wait and find out how that transitions. And that's why Satterfield ranks last, despite the phenomenal job that he did in the Sun Belt with the Mountaineers. And so there you have it. All the ACC coaches ranked going into 2019. A lot of factors going into this. I can't stress that enough. It's a lot of factors, but we want to hear from you guys. We want to hear if you agree with these rankings. We want to hear if you disagree with these rankings. Leave your rankings in the comments below. We want to hear from you guys. And that wraps up our Power 5 head coaching rankings. We will have our independent head coaching rankings coming out and a big-time announcement coming out next week that you will certainly not want to miss. So as always, thank you for watching. Please continue to like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you next time here on The Gridiron Expert.